feel kind of dorky just being out here, but so right now a lot of people are probably watching the results. I mean, I know I am, and being like, what the fuck? Like, how is this so close? How is it that people are still voting for this guy? How is it that people don't recognize that he's a rotting turd? Oh, I've done what any self-respecting millennial would have done and walked to a park to talk to my phone to give my hot take. So I think what I want to talk about is influence. Two very contradictory things are true at the same time. One is that individually you don't seem to have a lot of power in like big systems, and then the other one is that individually you actually do have quite a bit of power, like as an individual agent. I want to unpack how both of those things are true at the same time, but in different ways, because I actually think getting this clear and straight in our heads is that dude just looked at me. Ooh, I feel weird being in a park doing this. Whatever. Just the light is like not good in my room, and my camera isn't good enough to focus. Like you can see the fractures, like my weird double face here. So I've come outside, and I don't care if people see me on my video blog. So what was I talking about? Right, the individual ability to impact things, and also the kind of uselessness and like futility of individual actions. So I guess I would put the paradox, I guess, if you could even call it that, I would pose it to you like this. On one hand, you have this social message, which is like we are supposed to be, recycling. We're supposed to be trying to limit our impact on the world. We, go out and vote because like every vote counts, and all of that is, fine. As we have begun to kind of collectively wake up to the like shit show that our world is in, a counter message has emerged, which is, look, like we're not the people to blame for the world burning. Like the individual person can only do so much. And so we've got these two sides. I don't even know if we can call them sides. We basically have these two like takes. The former, the one that's like, all right, guys, time to get your compostable shoes on. That message is being given to us the most probably by people in power, with people with the power to actually change those things. And it's kind of a myth that's perpetuated in the hopes that the masses won't collectively understand that actually it's not totally our fault that everything is falling to pieces. I think the problem is that it's not fundamentally a question of is the individual powerless. I think what's at stake right now is fundamentally a question of scale. Like, you as an individual can actually do kind of a lot of things to change your immediate circumstance. I don't mean like this isn't a bootstraps thing. I think that we underestimate our effectiveness in really local, small ways, and we overestimate our effectiveness in symbolic and large ways. I think that liberalism, neoliberalism specifically, and capitalism do a really good job at working together to kind of make it seem like values of like neighborliness or helpfulness are kind of like just naturally there, but they're not. Like, we actually need to build those things. They are traits that we take for granted. I do think those like small scale ways of connecting with your network they can be really empowering. They can totally change like the course of sure, municipal elections, but even just like day-to-day experiences in your neighborhood and in your life. This seems like just such a basic thing, but I think the problem is that I see a lot of people feeling a lot of helplessness, and the thing is that it's not about like whether or not you're able to stop Trump from being reelected or something like that. It's a question of strategy, recognizing like what you're supposed to be hurling your energy at. I think the answer is to figure out your strategy, to sort out like what is it that I'm actually really good at and like capable of contributing in a positive way. And I don't mean that in like a cheesy way. I mean that in like kind of very literally. This is like very like Rick Mercer vibes, I'm realizing, but also less fast. and probably less good. Hi, just a quick note. I finished editing this thing and then like went back and watched it, and there's like a voiceover action moment that's about to happen, and it's just kind of jarring, and I've been trying to fix the levels, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm using pretty janky software, and I thought I would just, rather than like spend any more time on it, just kind of flag it for you, so heads up. So to recap, there is a myth about the level of individual effectiveness in large-scale ways, but also the individual does indeed have a lot of effectiveness, just in ways that map or scale properly onto a fact of being individuals. But there is value, I think, in strategizing about these things and about what that kind of effectiveness looks like. Ugh, it's really there. Damn. This is why I ventured into the outside. Because of the undue significance that something like market liberalism places on the individual, I feel like you end up with myths about individual effectiveness. And then there's tension because also of the significance that something like market liberalism puts on both, you know, the importance of the state and on like money, like these symbolic but real things. Yeah, you should do your part, but also uphold the system that we created. Liberalism kind of insulates its own reality that it creates. So you end up with these weird, confusing things. You know, it's better to keep the masses thinking that if they buy this biodegradable can of beans, they are doing their part to stop fracking in an illegal country where the workers are being paid nothing for incredibly unsafe and dangerous labor that is slowly destroying the planet. So I think it comes down to, like, what am I saying? Great question. I kind of think the antidote to this kind of like weird bind that we're in of like individual effectiveness and also helplessness is to challenge it and find ways that you are effective in an immediate, local, kind of small way. Basically, I'm saying it's kind of true that you don't really have a lot of power as an individual. Yes, but that's because the strategy that you've been fed is bonkers, and it is keeping you from being effective in the local ways that actually really matter. Like, building solidarity is maybe one of the most important things that I think anybody could be doing right now. Think about the ways that you can be effective in your life and in the lives of others around you. So don't buy into the weird scale paradox. I think it's very empowering to reject, and I don't think you need to have like a ton of energy, you know, or time. Don't go for the bureaucracy anymore. Just divest yourself from that and look for local efforts. You know, look into things that already exist. And if you're sitting there being like, man, I'm like a useless idiot, like, fear not. I too feel often like a useless idiot. But there are so many things that you can do to offer. Don't buy into that weird thing because I think it leads to a kind of nihilism. Ugh.